The majesty of ancient Beijing is transforming itself into a modern-day metropolis. Every sight, sound, and experience is a feast for the senses that no place else has to offer. See this city of antiquity now give way to a new effervescent landscape of art and exotic cuisines. Plan your mystical journey and enjoy 72-hour visa-free transit to make your vacation unforgettable. Discover Beijing 3, a modern city in motion, Saturday, May 23rd at 7:30 on ABC 7.
The political and cultural capital of China. A rising center of international business and modern-day attractions. A city where modernity and history unite. A city that has in the past decade attracted millions to its shore because of its exponential growth. A city that has become one of the most modern capitals in the world. This is Beijing, a modern city in motion. Chinese-American David Yen has seen the transformation of this city of 23 million firsthand. Born in Beijing, David left China for the U.S. at age 18.
Beijing at that time, before 1938, is entirely different from today. There's no big buildings like we have now, skyscrapers, it doesn't exist.
25-year-old Nina Li also remembers a different Beijing. Nina left Beijing when she was 7 and now lives in New York, but returns often to the land of her birth and is surprised by the changes.
Even when I was born in Beijing, it was still it wasn't as developed as it is today. And if I could go back in time and look at Beijing again back in the 90s, it would be completely different from what it is today.
Beijing is now home to dozens of skyscrapers that rise up alongside centuries-old tree-lined alleyways, or hutongs.
Beijing actually is a big metropolitan city with high-rise and big hotels. Actually, it's much like New York, but even better than New York. Better in the way that everything's newer.
Beijing
is a very representative city in China because it is not only the capital of the Ming Dynasty and the Qing Dynasty, the last two dynasties in China's history, but also the capital of modern China.
The headquarters of most of China's largest companies and world brands also call this Chinese capital home. 5-star hotels, global fashion houses, and name-brand restaurants and stores have risen up all around this vast city.
The number of chic stores and of designer stores is extraordinary.
There are a lot of foreigners in Beijing now because of business. Our companies have their offices in Beijing, which is a good sign.
There are probably more startups in high-tech and big data and clustering systems and application development here in Beijing than I've ever seen any place. It's really building up a synergy that it just drives you quite excitedly.
Yet pull back the curtains anywhere, and you will find a slice of old Beijing rising alongside a modern city. This begins in the hutongs, which offer up local delicacies and a peek at how life used to be in old Beijing.
The best part about Beijing is, I'd say, is the hutongs. The hutongs are like a village, and they're not on the outside of the city like most villages are. It's in the center of the city. They're kept simple. They're filled with people living ordinary lives, which is quite extraordinary in one of the biggest cities in the world.
Beijing is full of hutongs. They are just side streets from the main drag. And most of hutong is just a narrow pathway, and on both sides we call it the Sihouyan, the big houses with a square courtyard in the middle.
While life slows down in the hutongs, all the while, the rest of the city darts around in sharp suits to their jobs in the high-rises. It is this unique mixture that is drawing many to experience this booming city.
By the reform and opening up in recent decades, Beijing has also become a more stylish, energetic, and inclusive city, with a perfect balancing between Eastern and Western cultures.
There's so many different people you can meet, you know, like me being from a small town, it's kind of, you know, even though being in Knoxville, you just meet so many different cultures, you know, Russians and, you know, Singaporean people, people from Hong Kong, people from Italy, you know, people you wouldn't usually meet in the States or whatever.
People are going to thrive. They're going to see an opportunity. They're going to see a niche. They're going to see a demand for people to want to be able to have their type of food or want to be able to have their type of music. And so that's what's beautiful about Beijing, is that it is a cosmopolitan city.
There are just hundreds of places to go. The city is so huge that it's really sort of broken up into about 10, 12 different small cities.
Yet, despite the millions of people converging on this cosmopolitan city, Beijing is fairly easy to get around. The Beijing train station is located near the center of the city, giving you access to the subway system, buses, and taxis.
Transportation in Beijing is very easy. Just like New York, you would go on the streets and you would see taxis everywhere. And just like New York, you would be able to, you know, find a cab and hop in and go anywhere you need to go.
The subway system is just as good as New York City, but cleaner than New York City.
So among all of these historic sites and places, it's still incredibly modern. We got the bullet train down to Xi'an, which is a 6-hour journey when you're going 300 kilometers per hour.
Art has also taken on a new meaning in the modern Beijing.
When you visit Beijing, aside from the food and shopping, there are a lot of other art exhibits in Beijing.
It's showing off the collections perfectly well. Everything from the history of China to the furniture and the pottery and the vases, and so that is a must.
The 798 district is one of the largest art locales in the city and in the country. It was reconstructed from a 1950s factory and railway station, and the district has been rebuilt and reborn with the breath of art. Hundreds of galleries with artists from every corner of the country and globe gather and offer themselves to the world.
798 is almost like a little neighborhood. You walk through it and there's just statues, wall arts, just different various art pieces that is laid out along the street. It's amazing to see that those pieces are still there and they're still preserved in such good shape. And a lot of people go to 798 now. Every single time I visit it, you would see people doing photo shoots there. A lot of people take wedding photos there.
One of the great pleasures of working here is that during the day, if you want to take a cigarette break or you want to go out and rest for 15 minutes, you can actually take in an exhibition meet with an artist. Sitting out front is a well-known young movie director, and he's talking with his cameraman about the next film they're doing. And there's a lot of energy and excitement and creativity in the air all around you, and that does it has it's a great way to live.
Also worth visiting is the Songzhong Art Community in Songzhong Village, Beijing. China's Art Industry Expo was held in Songzhong last year. It is home to more than 2,000 artists and was established after the 798 Gallery, which is home to many exhibits, cafes, and is a more commercial area than Songzhong. This area houses the Dadi Art Gallery and the very famous Han Meiling Gallery.
Many artists live here because they believe the surroundings can enhance the perfection of their works and better display them to visitors and their friends. The first floor is for oil painting exhibition, and the second is for traditional ink painting exhibition. There is a separate space in the latter part, an independent exhibition hall for holding independent solo exhibition. Outside the building, we dug up a small lake, and there is a small island on the lake designed by our boss. His design philosophy is to keep an original ecosystem and natural surrounding for the gallery.
Beijing's cuisine and entertainment scene is also undergoing a revolution, especially in Wudaoying.
It's a normal area around here. It's like a regular, diverse area. It's not like where it's just predominantly Chinese people or Chinese food. This area is solely, I think, for the international market, like for people who come from different places all around the world and people who work here.
Wudaoying has become a typical Beijing-style commercial street with diversity. Each store in this street holds a theme such as Mediterranean, Greek, Spanish, and Mexican. The store owners and regular customers enjoy the relaxing and quiet atmosphere here, considering it as a perfect get-together place away from the noisiness.
The new Italian, Spanish, and French restaurants blur the lines between East and West, and Indian, Russian, American, Mexican, and Afro-Caribbean restaurants add to the international cornucopia of cuisines. Walking is also a great way to experience the city. Step beyond the Forbidden City and Tiananmen Square. You will run into the unique shopping district of Wangfujing. A lot of people enjoy visiting Wangfujing, not only because of its vast variety of shops and stores. Many go there to taste Beijing's exotic foods, which are only available after sunset.
When I go back to Beijing now, I love eating street food. One of my favorite places to visit is the night market in Wangfujing. Every single night in Wangfujing, there would be a night market on the street, and there would be little stands, one after another, where vendors would sell different types of foods that you would find only in Beijing or only in China, such as, for example, one of the most bizarre things that anybody would ever see when you visit Wangfujing are scorpions. Scorpions are one of those, I guess, delicacies that you don't find in the West, and people don't often think about eating scorpions, but it is part of the culture in Beijing and in China in general.
The Donghua Men Night Market in the northern end of Huafujing in the Dongchen district is where you will find a popular Beijing delicacy.
When I was younger, I remember one of my favorite snacks are these things called tanghulu, which in comparison, it would be the equivalent of candied apple or caramel apple. And it's basically a skewer, and it's a skewer with a bunch of little fruits called hawthorn, which are, I guess, red berries, but they're very large and they're candied, and they are stacked on a skewer, and they sell them, especially in the wintertime. And it was one of my favorite foods to eat. Every single time I go back to Beijing, I still look for it. They have them in ice cream form now, so you can find it in stores, and they have it packaged in the freezer. But obviously, I love it. The traditional way to eat tanghulu is to buy it off the street, in the wintertime especially.
That's my favorite. Vendor used to carry a big stick, still wrapped with grass. Children just like that.
But as the sun sets and the neon lights rise, 24-hour restaurants, bars, and upscale nightclubs in Hohai and the Sanlituan area come alive. Live bands in Hohai set the tone with everything from R&B to jazz, and there's even an annual beer festival.
It's basically the equivalent of the bar culture in, let's say, in America. It's very beautiful at night, and it has a river, and on each side of the river there's just bars at night, and there's lights, and there's shows, and there's just loud music everywhere, and a lot of young people, especially people from international places.
Looking for more formal types of entertainment? Then head over to China's Performance Arts Center in Beijing. Orchestras, operas, and dramas are always available at the National Center for the Performing Arts. Another new addition to the entertainment mix in modern Beijing is the show I Am Marbury, a very uplifting entertainment show based on the true story of former NBA star Stephen Marbury, who now plays for the Beijing Ducks of the Chinese Basketball Association. If you're looking for more of a local ethnic culture, then make your way over to the Chinese Ethnic Culture Park. This is an introduction to the culture of the 56 ethnic groups that call China home. From exotic snacks to performances to brand name shopping, Beijing has it all. The Xidan Commercial Street is another must-see. Here, you will find clothing stores from many world-famous brands right in the heart of Beijing's new commercial business district.
You can find any brand, any type of luxury brand, or any type of clothing in Beijing, whether it is from traditional clothing like qipao to things that you would find in Paris and in Milan. Beijing has grown to be the home of so many luxury brands and so many international companies that you can really go to Beijing not only for the culture, not only for tourism, but you can go there for shopping as well.
If antiques are more your interest, then get up early and make a trip to Panjiayuan, giant antique market in the Chaoyang district in Beijing. Here you will find every imaginable curio and artifact on sale.
Panjiayuan has a long history that dates back all the way to the Qing dynasty. Back then, as early as 2 a.m., when the rich and wealthy would lack of cash, they would carry lanterns and gather here to trade off antiques for cash. Now, we have lots of overseas customers. Some even understand Mandarin.
Beijing's unique blend of culture is combined into the world-famous traditional medicine that has also made China renowned. How about making Beijing your next stop for traditional medical treatment that dates back thousands of years? This includes acupuncture, one of the more popular forms of Chinese traditional medicine. It is one of the oldest, most commonly used medical procedures in the world and originated in China more than 2,000 years ago. Acupuncture became widely known in the United States in 1971 when New York Times reporter James Reston wrote about how doctors in Beijing, China, used needles to ease his abdominal pain after surgery. Chronic disease, pain control, and stress-related disorders are three of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine's most effective and successful treatment areas, making it more acceptable to mainstream America.
Beijing is also best known for its rich root in Chinese health knowledge or traditional Chinese medicine. This is very unique to Chinese culture.
No other place combines ancient and modern treatment options like the Qing Peng Hui Health Management Group. Its beautiful location and superb care is fast becoming nationally renowned, even with celebrities seeking Chinese traditional medicine.
Traditional Chinese medicine still has a high reputation in China, and recently, a number of international celebrities and international friends traveled to Beijing to experience our health programs.
But while there are the traditional means of healing through needles, herbs, and heated lamps and cups, there are simpler ways to maintain overall health, says Hui Young, a walnut vendor.
We have many acupuncture points in our palms. Once we swirl the walnuts with our hands, they stimulate these points and massage them to improve blood circulation and overall health.
And Beijing's 72-hour visa-free transit policy is making it easier for all to experience Chinese traditional medicine and the other highlights of this city firsthand.
Over 30,000 passengers have been benefited from this policy since its release 1.5 years ago. Given the total amount of over 5 million tourists to Beijing annually, we figure that there is a huge potential for engaging more tourists into this policy by offering short-period traveling programs ranging from 8 hours, 24 hours to 2 days. During the period, tourists will be able to learn the history and culture of Beijing, visit places of interest, or even hold conferences and seminars.
From modern architecture to luxury shopping, a melting pot of global cuisines and entertainment, and traditional medicine that matches global standards, Beijing has it all.
I think American kids should come in Beijing because Beijing is a beautiful country with a lot of good restaurants, and then they can learn more history about Beijing.
A portrait of Beijing encapsulated the great achievements of China in coalescing outlying regions into a great country and a great empire, which is now a leading player in the world.
Beijing is truly a city that moves to the modern beat while still keeping the tone of an ancient capital where traditions and values play a major role. In the following episodes of Beijing, we will go deeper into the rise of modern Beijing.